season 2 bathtub. Ohio bathtub season 2. Best friends, no clothing. Confusing bathtub season. It's bathtub season. It's bathtub season. It's bathtub season. It's bathtub season.
Well, good evening, Austin.
Hi, Corey.
My house's heating literally turned on as soon as I said that, so this intro audio may be a bit iffy. What a great start to our final episode of Season 2. The auspicious end to a show. I think I used that word right.
Well, you used it.
I did. It is the word I used. So I was thinking maybe we could... Well, I was going to say we could come up with some nicknames for ourselves and our listeners, but as I'm saying it out loud to a microphone, I'm realizing that's not a great cold open.
New idea.
Do you have ideas? We've used them all up in season.
Do I have any ideas? You ask me this at 10 o'clock at night. Do I have any ideas?
Did you get into the bathtub in any interesting ways like last time, or did you just go standard?
I came up from below.
In from the side?
I don't know how anyone comes in from the side unless you got a crack in your caulk or something.
What?
Coming through the tiles, the grout.
My tub doesn't have grout because it was one of those insert tubs, so it's all caulk, no grout.
That's too bad. If you need some grout, I think Rico's got you covered.
and all caulk, no grout was also my nickname in high school, I think.
Was it now?
My son has he's been playing with crayons this last week, but he doesn't know the word crayon yet, but he knows chalk, and so he keeps calling it chalk, but he doesn't say it right. So all week it's just we've heard from him cock, 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 cock,
Cock.
cock, cock. It's so hard to keep a straight face. Well, now's probably good as time as any. Speaking of my kid, is you already know this, but we haven't said on the show. But I'm gonna be a dad again. I almost said that wrong.
Yep, you're gonna be another dad. I don't know what that means.
The other dad. I'm gonna be another dad. The turbo daddy.
Dad of another dimension.
Interdimensional daddy.
I think 3D Dad is the next Marvel movie.
And the sequel, Cock and Grout Dad. But I don't know if Disney's gonna fund that one. I hope so. It sounds promising.
Yeah, the Cock and Grout campaign. It's a letter writing campaign, petition for this. Do not let Cock and Grout go unseen on the big screen. You know you want a big screen full of caulk.
And grout. Make sure it's all wet and slimy, as all grout should be.
Should it?
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it's the caulk that's usually wet and slimy.
Are you sure about the kind of bathtub you're in?
Well, I meant like in a literal sense. If you've ever caulked something, it is very slimy when it comes out.
Oh, my. I have. Yes, I understand. It kind of depends on the caulk as well, but yes.
I only ever allow premium caulk in my house. I don't caulk often.
We'll have to do something about that. You're not living up to your nickname. You're looking a little more like grout to me these days.
Is that going to be our scale for rating episodes and shows? Is this caulk or grout?
Which is better?
Well, you just inferred that grout's worse, so...
Well, you're the one with the nickname all caulk, no grout.
True. I like this scale. What's in the middle? Putty? Epoxy? Wood glue?
I mean, okay.
It's been a while since I've worked with various adhesives, but I think I've named most of the ones I have readily available.
Readily available, I think I have super glue.
Hot glue? I got hot glue. I got a wireless hot glue gun. It's the most useful thing ever. I think I talked about this on an episode a while back, like one of our first episodes, but I got a Ryobi wireless glue gun, and then I was suddenly hot gluing everything around the house, just fixing anything I could with it. It was amazing.
How many things are you fixing with hot glue?
Oh, so a lot. I use that thing all the time.
All right.
It's a very good adhesive. I just fixed some clothes with some like 2 nights ago.
Okay.
Tore one of my jackets along the seam, and I didn't have the right kind of sewing needle for our sewing machine to fix it, so I just used hot glue.
Okay.
Is that gonna be your nickname? It'll be all caulk, no grout, and hot glue.
Hot glue in the morning.
I was just thinking that. I got start my day off with my hot glue.
Like a radio DJ. Today on your morning drive. Hot glue.
When I lived in Nashville, there was one that was like free beer and hot wings, and that was just their nicknames. One of them was free beer and the other one was hot wings. They were funny.
Okay. I'll take some free beer and hot wings, but I'd rather they not be 2 men.
What an odd statement. I was just sitting here thinking about what I just heard in my human ears.
Whoa. You got human ears?
I got upgraded.
Shit, I still got Buccaneers.
Boo. What is even the joke there, Austin? Explain it to me.
Nope.
I need you to walk me through this one. Because it sounded like a bad dad pun, but the more I think about it, it just doesn't make sense.
So it's a really bad dad pun. Or maybe it's a genius one.
I'm the turbo daddy.
You're the other daddy. I'm the real daddy.
Another dad. I'm another dad. Interdimensional turbo daddy. Well, it's funny we came around to my nickname idea for the cold open.
Create your own destiny, Corey.
Is that what we can call our listeners? The other daddies?
It only makes me wonder who the primary daddies are. If they're the other daddies.
What are you? My daddy? You my daddy?
I don't know, because you're hot glue in the morning and I'm all cock and no grout.
Where are you, daddies? We've lost our daddies. We only know the other daddies.
Sounds like a new dystopian, like, teenage drama novel.
Or one-season show.
Or both.
Both.
Well, Austin, are you enjoying anything on this important night?
Is it important?
Well, it's the last episode of the season proper.
Oh, you're right.
Hopefully.
If this is a 3-parter, I swear to God.
It shouldn't be.
No, it shouldn't.
It shouldn't even be a 2-parter.
Debatable.
Well, ain't no position to have. That's no debate.
I am about to crack into a beer, as per my usual. Not my always, but my usual. This one is a lovely reddish, pinkish red color. Ruby, we're going to call it Ruby. I'm calling it Ruby. Ruby. It's called Donuts, and it's yellow like The Simpsons, and it has the Homer donut on it. The pink icing and sprinkles. It's from 450 North Brewing Co. It's one of their Slushy XL smoothie style sour ales. And it is glazed donuts, raspberry, and raspberry jelly flavor.
I feel like beer has gotten very complicated. There's a lot going on.
It's so good.
It sounds good.
It tastes just like a raspberry donut. Like, it's insane.
So, what is red and what's yellow? The way you described it confused me.
The beer itself is ruby pinkish red color, and the can is a yellow label with pink icing sprinkles Homer donut in the middle.
Joy and anything else, or is that it for the night?
That is it tonight.
Nice. Well, While I was setting up, I cracked open a winter spiced cranberry Sprite, and I'm almost finished with it. It's pretty good. But I bring that up because for Christmas, somebody special ordered me a koozie with our logo on it. I'm using that. You'll be able to see it in the video.
Very cool.
It's really cool. But my proper drink, I did get something special for tonight. I went to our closing Big Lots, since they're all closing, and I was looking around their drink section, and I got a bottle of Dry Botanical Bubbly Reserve Rosé Soleil non-alcoholic wine.
Interesting.
Well, it doesn't actually say wine, but all the words make it sound like wine. Naturally flavored sparkling beverage with other natural flavors. That's a very sterile description. Produced for the Dry Soda Company, Seattle, Washington. Drinkdry.com. So it seems like this is like a thing they do. I haven't opened this up. I really hope I don't need it. Okay, I don't need it. It's not a cork. I didn't check that before I got in the tub.
Have your bath corkscrew.
It's fizzing. There we go. And I got a little champagne flute to drink it out of.
Very nice.
It smells lovely. Huh. That's interesting. I can tell it was like made by like a soda company. It's got like a pop-like flavor. I'm glad I read that, because if I didn't know that, this flavor would have just thrown me for a loop. But it's got like earthiness in it, like a funky wine would. But it's sweet. It is interesting. I kind of like it. I'm glad they didn't just make like wine flavored water, because that'd be boring. So they made something interesting for like people trying not to drink alcohol. Tangy.
Fancy soda.
Yeah, it's a pretty bottle too. Do you have any sack soup seasoning?
I hate soup. It's the wettest of foods.
Oh, soup, right. Yeah, right.
No soup for you! Soup? Thrilling 3-day soup spectacular!
Well, as you mentioned, it's our final episode in the bath. Final episode talking about Napoleon and his FFA adventures. So I have my final...
Cow shit.
Cat's out of the bag. Shit's out of the cow.
It always does.
I have the final Golden Girls bath bomb. This time it's Blanche.
You just implied that I'm an old lady.
Oh, well, honey, I didn't mean to imply it. I meant to say it flat out.
I wonder if you would have used all of them together, if it would have like turned you into the Transformers of Golden Girls.
One can only hope. I'll order another set, and then I'll put them all in, and maybe I'll turn into Sophia.
Is that who you'd become?
I think it is.
Which one do you think I would be?
Rose.
Cool.
Do you know what I hate doing most after a party? Trying to find your underwear in the big pile?
What do I have? So I added some more of that rainforest bath salt from Ritzy Bath that was like the 6 different salts combined. This time I added it when it was filling up, so I wasn't just sitting on gravel the whole episode like last time I used that. It's a terrible decision. And then I didn't go fancy on this. I scoured the internet for a Napoleon Dynamite bath bomb. I couldn't find anything. I didn't even think about looking for an FFA one until you were describing yours. But I have a Ritzy Bath Redwood and Vanilla bath bomb. Smooth and velvety notes of vanilla. Softened notes of dark amber, patchouli, cedarwood, and redwood.
Sounds woody.
Oh, that smells very nice. I was worried because I love the taste of vanilla, but I'm not a huge fan of the smell of it. It's just usually too sweet and overpowering. Ooh, this is pretty. It's turning it like a bright red, but there's like little blue bombs going off. Like these specks that are coming off of it that are bright blue, and then they like spread into the water after they've detached.
Sounds like fireworks.
Yeah, it is. It's very much like fireworks. That was awesome. So are we going to talk about Napoleon Dynamite or what, Austin?
Oh, I thought Napoleon was going to talk about us this time.
He already has been. That's his secret.
Well, how does that work?
The world may never know.
Well, then he's not doing a very good job of talking about us.
No talking about me, okay?
So if you didn't listen to our last episode, you probably should, because this is a part 2 as we've described, but we're talking about what some would say is season 1, episode 6 of the animated Napoleon Dynamite TV show titled FFA. The TV show's not titled that. This individual episode is. Just clarifying.
Yeah, we're at Howie's Taxidermy, where you kill him, we fill him.
So who got taxidermied, Austin? Tell me.
Uncle Rico. Okay, that's not true.
Yeah. No. That's not true. I was like, wait a second. I just found where I was in my notes.
They're there to treat a cut on Kip's forehead. And Kip asks, shouldn't we be in a hospital instead of a taxidermy shop? And Rico is the reason they're there. His response is,
and pay $1 million for a piece of thread? All Dr. Howie charges is a couple of roadkill skunks.
I mean, he's got a point.
He does. Dr. Howie fixes up Kip lickety-split, and Rico says, Howie's fixed me up plenty of times. He even replaced my bit-off ear with one from a wolf. And he brushes his hair back to reveal this hybrid ear.
Yeah, I want this man to be my doctor if he has powers like this.
Get you some wolf ears.
What body part would you replace for another animal's, and which animal would you replace it with?
That was a weird way to word that, but I know what you're asking.
Would you have it any other way?
What would I want?
The toes of a sloth, perhaps?
The udders of a cow?
Oh my god. I'll show you my udders. I don't need them replaced. I asked the question, but I also don't know. I mean, I could replace my butt for like...
Ass of a baboon.
That, I was gonna say like a platypus with a big like flat tail.
Or a beaver.
That's what I'm thinking of, a beaver. You're right. Very different animals. But yeah, like a beaver tail. That's one option.
What is it? A beaver?
Ass of a baboon is another.
Very red. I don't know if I could rock that look, but it would be a look for sure.
Ears of an elephant.
That would be good.
Eyes of a snake.
Anybody got any good elbows or knees?
Giraffes, maybe?
Ooh, what about a dew claw? I was always jealous of animals that have dew claws. I think it'd be sweet to have.
Sure. I feel like it'd be cool to have talons, but then I'd be giving up... Well, no, they can be my feet. Talons of a falcon.
Oh, what about like the neck of an ostrich? That'd be pretty good.
Would it?
I think so. You'd be all wiggly.
You could smash people with your head.
Bury it in the sand real good. I could use that sometimes. I do have webbed toes.
I do not.
Did you know that about me?
I did.
Yeah, 2 of my toes are connected about halfway up. I should say 4 of my toes because it's the same 2 on both feet. It's my pointer toe and my middle toe. Feels wrong calling it like a pointer toe because it's like the most useless toe.
Do you often use it to point?
I've talked about this before, not on our show, but I think to you, but it makes me really like actually angry that I can't control my toes like I can my fingers. It really bothers me.
It's an interesting set of emotions you have.
I've been told that. That's why I go to therapy and see a psychiatrist.
There you go.
Hey, Doc, can you fix my toe thing?
Fix my toes.
I can get you a toe. Believe me. There are ways, dude. You don't want to know about it, believe me.
Yeah, but Walter...
Hell, I can get you a toe by 3 o'clock this afternoon with nail polish.
So, what happens next? We're about to the section of my notes when I dropped my book in last time, and bottom parts of some pages got soaking wet.
Next is Napoleon's tryst.
Oh yeah, the motel. You see that where the FFA people are staying, you see him escaping, sneaking out in the dead of night.
Yes, he's going to meet Nicole for their picnic. If you don't remember, this is the Egg Queen. Napoleon arrives at the soil judging hole, which is filled with a lavish picnic spread. He reads a note left for him requesting he close his eyes for a surprise.
This thing looks like a grave, by the way. Like, I know it's supposed to be one of the holes they like dug for the soil judging, but this just straight up looks like a grave in this scene.
That's what I said on the last episode. It looks like they're digging their own graves. But also, someone take me to a lavish picnic in a grave. Sounds nice.
I did want to say I got my FFA jacket with all my pins that Napoleon does not have. Because apparently he's lying, stolen valor.
But he has that spiffy trophy.
He does, but I don't believe it.
Is it because you don't have a spiffy trophy?
I have many odd awards.
Okay. Well, Napoleon does close his eyes. He feels a hand on his shoulder, and it's Pedro. Basically, Pedro calls out Napoleon for lying to him, and Napoleon responds, "I don't care, get out of here, I'm about to have a secret dinner with my woman." And Pedro's like, "In a hole?" Napoleon says, "It's not a hole, it's our love dungeon."
This line got 2 stars in my notes. I love it, Napoleon.
Pedro says, "Well, I don't think she loves you. Look, her apples are fake." And he's tapping a basket of artificial fruit that's part of this picnic spread. At this point, the pair hear a bulldozer that's being driven by Nicole, and she fills the hole with dirt, burying them and leaving only their heads exposed.
It's funny you keep calling her Nicole because I never caught what her name was, so it just says Egg Queen every time she's in a scene in my notes. Plus, it's more fun.
I'm the Egg Queen. I'm queen of the eggs.
Napoleon, still an idiot, says,
"Look what you've accidentally done, my sweet."
And the Egg Queen says, "You're even dumber than Filson said you were." At this point, Filson approaches, puts his arm around the Egg Queen, and tells Napoleon he wasn't going to let him win 2 years in a row, and reveals that Nicole is actually his fiancée.
Mm-hmm.
Filson and Nicole start making out in front of Pedro and Napoleon.
That's just so mean.
Napoleon is just the densest motherfucker you'll ever meet, because he responds to this, "What? That's it, Nicole. You gotta decide right now, him or me." Filson and Nicole drive off in the bulldozer together. Napoleon tells Pedro, "Don't worry, she'll be back."
I love the optimism, Napoleon. I need that in my life.
No, there's got to be a little bit of realism here. That's where Pedro comes in. You need Napoleon. I'm on board with Pedro. He says, "You're crazy, Napoleon. Even the earthworms are laughing at us." And the camera pans to a pair of giggling earthworms.
I don't remember that. I thought I would have noted that oddity, but I guess I just went along with it.
You were just too into it. You're like, "Yeah, earthworms."
Yeah, you know.
Pedro and Napoleon get into a fight. Pedro calls out Napoleon for misleading him, and Napoleon blames Pedro for not corralling and supporting him the way that Curtis would have. And while we're here, actually, I wanted to mention 2 things I noted from the last episode. This is the kid from the bed races. Curtis was.
Oh.
And the FFA creed is incredibly fucking long.
Did you look it up?
Yes, I did.
You want to read it?
No. I don't have it in front of me, but it was a really long video.
That's probably why I don't remember it.
Holy shit, is it long. Unnecessary. I don't know how anyone is supposed to fucking remember it, but it does start with "I believe."
I believe in the future of agriculture.
And then a bunch of other shit.
I think I did have to memorize it at one point.
It's like a 10-minute monologue or some shit.
That's great. I should have looked it up. I'll post both that and a picture of my jacket on the feed. There are still news articles. If you search my name on Google, some of the first things that come up are rural news networks talking about my wins in FFA back from 2010.
You're a celebrity.
I'm also pretty sure I'm the only Corey Rindler in the world now. I've looked into this pretty hard. It feels pretty good.
There can be only one.
They're fighting though, and then it turns into a physical fight, but because they're buried up to their heads, it's just a headbutt fight.
It starts with Pedro spitting in Napoleon's direction. And
how rude.
Pedro responds to Napoleon saying he should have been more like Curtis by saying, "Well, I'm not Curtis. I'm Pedro Montoya Carlos Sanchez, and you have shamed and betrayed me." And Napoleon says, "I don't care how many names you have. You're dead." And that's when they start headbutting each other.
You have so many more notes. I'm trying to do better with not having excessive notes. So the only thing I had written down for this was Napoleon and Pedro argue, headbutt fight.
So you saw my headbutt, huh?
You're missing out on some good stuff. I did have noted, I don't remember it well enough now. I wish I did, but when they're butting heads with each other, I think it's kind of just like a back and forth. It's not like very aggressive. There's not a whole lot they can do. And it reminded me of Beavis and Butthead, actually.
I don't think I've ever watched a full episode of Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, you're missing out. Great show.
I know. I'm sure I would like it. It's just I wasn't allowed when it was on television, and then I just never got around to watching it once I was, older.
Hi. I want a bacon cheeseburger with lettuce and tomato, but extra tomato, and a vanilla shake, and a large half fries, half onion rings.
I refuse.
What? Why?
You're like creating a work environment.
But you work here. Isn't this your job?
You just did it again, dumbass. I'm sorry, sir. I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
I'm a big fan of Mike Judge.
I am as well. King of the Hill is one of my favorite TV shows.
Absolutely.
6 a.m. and already the boy ain't right.
So we are now back at Rico's van, still night, and Rico hears the fight that Napoleon and Pedro are having with his wolf ears, and he drives off.
Yep, and that's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's all I had written down, so I wasn't sure if there was anything else. I meant to watch this episode again today, and I didn't, so it's been a few weeks since I actually watched it.
Oh, that is that entire scene. He rushes off to their aid after hearing them with his wolf ear. We're back at the Idaho FFA Championships. The sun is rising as the buried Napoleon and Pedro continue headbutting each other.
Mm-hmm.
Napoleon then apologizes, and Pedro forgives him.
Someday, when people find our dead, decrepit bodies, I hope they realize that we were best buds. Let's make a friendship loogie.
They both spit, and it forms the shape of a heart, and a rose blooms from their spit puddle. A tire immediately crushes the rose. It's Rico. Buried alive, huh? I know what that's like. Grandma takes jumper cables and attaches one clamp to Napoleon's neck, and one clamp to Pedro's neck, and the other two to Rico's bumper. This feels like a terrible idea.
Yeah, this is an insane way to pull them out. But I guess there's not a good way. Like, I was trying to think of a better way, and I was like, there's no good ones. But this is a crazy one.
You dig. You have to dig.
You dig?
Not if you're on a time crunch.
I suppose.
You gotta yank if you're on a time crunch.
Daddies know that you gotta yank on a time crunch.
Always gotta yank on a time crunch. All daddies know this.
Fuck. Rico hits the gas, pulls them out of the dirt. They didn't snap their fucking necks. Although I also don't know how they have skin left on their necks with the goddamn jumper cables, but it's beside the point. Napoleon and Pedro run into the venue to make it to the finals.
It's the cheese identification competition.
Yes, it is.
I did have noted, though, that I was curious if you think we should make a friendship loogie.
Sure, but I think more that we should do some cheese identifying.
You ate all the contraband. Excuse me.
I know that there is this kind of competition in FFA. They did do it at Miami, so I remember people doing it. I never did this one, but I did do a smell identification competition for food science in FFA, and that's fucking hard. Like, you would think it would be easier, but if you are just smelling the pure oil of something and don't know what it is, things smell different than you think. Your preconceived notions definitely influence that. It was a bizarre experience.
Fair enough. I don't know why you wouldn't identify cheese, Corey. That feels like a no-brainer.
I wasn't a dairy or cattle guy, so I didn't think I stood a chance. You know we're a swine family.
Spider pig does whatever a spider pig does.
I thought it was really funny that one of the cheeses that Filson's identifying is the Fiesta Mexican blend.
Yeah, he identifies 3 cheeses. American, Fiesta Mexican blend, and Swiss. And he really thinks hard about Swiss.
If Swiss doesn't have holes, it does taste like a lot of other cheeses. I'll give him that.
It had holes.
Yeah.
It was very clearly Swiss.
And I think the joke was supposed to be that American cheese isn't a cheese either, but I follow a lot of cooking and cooking science YouTube channels, And like American cheese is great. It's just like a different thing. It's so good for making sauces because it has like emulsifiers already in it, and it doesn't deserve the hate it gets. Like you just have to use it in the right applications, just like anything else.
I have no hate for American cheese.
I love American cheese. The best American cheese is McDonald's. I looked it up. I went down a big rabbit hole to see if you could buy the same American cheese that McDonald's has, but it's made at the same plant that makes what's like not Velveeta, but the other like the American cheese is like the name brand.
Kraft.
Yeah, it's made at the Kraft facilities along with the other Kraft cheese, but it uses a proprietary blend and they only sell it to McDonald's. So you literally can't buy it anywhere. And it makes me so mad because it's the best American cheese.
That's a shame that you can't have it.
I know.
You'll have to make your own proprietary cheese.
I like your thinking. Is that going to be a merch idea? Get your bath knife.
And your bath cheese.
Get your bath American proprietary cheese product. I love it.
We can sell a bath tray charcuterie board.
Cheese bath bombs? I did have that Cheetos bath bomb.
You did?
And we discussed death by cheese, what cheese we would like to die from during the tick.
We did indeed.
I think that turned into talk about boofing cheese, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm pretty sure it did. Yeah, I mean, a sharp cheddar's gonna fucking stab your heart out, man.
What's so scary about cheddar?
Unless you died by like boofing cheese.
And so you could boof feta.
You could.
What about like cheese powder? Like, you know.
What about it, Austin?
Kraft mac and cheese.
For what? Like for a bath?
For boofing.
It would certainly be easier, I think.
But maybe for a bath. I mean, it's a thought.
I think the easiest cheese to boof would be a mozzarella stick, but that's besides the point. If I had a penny for every time I talked about boofing cheese, it'd be 2 pennies, and that's far too many.
And both times have been on release media. Son, get me my boofing cheese.
And my bath knife. I'm going to face the other daddies. So, where were we? Fiesta Mexican blend. Oh, this is when Grandma threatens to kill Filson.
Is it? Oh, where the fuck is that? I'm not there yet.
I am. I have Fiesta Mexican blend. That's all that line says. And then the next line says, Grandma threatens to kill Filson.
All right, well, let's bridge this gap. Filson does a backflip, lands in the splits, throws up horns, and exclaims, FFA. And Napoleon exclaims, lame, entering the room from off camera. Filson is surprised to see that they are not dead.
What the? I thought I murdered you guys.
And Napoleon says, looks like you just got kissed by a rose from the grave. Love the random seal reference.
It's great.
Love the random seal reference. What the fuck? Anyway, then Grandma threatens Filson, says that she'll make him the bad smell coming from her attic if he buries Napoleon and Pedro again.
Grandma's great.
Filson says, looky here, your grandpa can threaten me all he wants, but I've already got this thing in the bag. And he's gesturing to the leaderboard or scoreboard or whatever that shows Filson's in first place and Napoleon is in last place. Then Filson says, plus one of the judges is braiding my hair. And the female judge that was into Filson earlier is braiding his hair and says, oh, I can still be impartial.
I think this lady needs to be investigated.
Yes, I think so. I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned too. But at this point, if I'm not mistaken, we go into a montage sequence with Napoleon and Pedro speedrunning all the different competitions.
Yep, they clasp hands like Predator style, and they go into a montage.
One of them is a knitting competition, and I wanted to say, because I'm into the yarn arts myself, I crochet. Knitting fast is nearly impossible. Crochet is known for being much faster than knitting, so the fact that he's knitting really fast is even more impressive.
It's like you're unraveling a big cable knit sweater that someone keeps knitting and knitting
Knitting. Knitting.
Well, the montage starts with sheep shearing. Filson shearing his sheep. Napoleon is shearing his sheep at super speed, while Pedro uses a spinning wheel to knit a sweater in real time with Napoleon's clippings, which he then puts on to the sheared sheep. Next up is the well rescue.
I want to learn this one. This one I had written down that this is a skill I'd like to know because it's not going to happen often. But if it does, no one's going to know what to do.
It's true. It's true. So, stuck down a well, we see Pedro crank a bucket up from the bottom of a well with Napoleon in the bucket holding a baby. Filson's partner cranks Filson, who is holding Kip in his arms, who he drops back down the well.
Why is Kip one of the babies?
I don't know. It makes perfect sense, right?
Yeah, it does.
Next up is Sittin' a Spell.
This was great.
Napoleon and Pedro relax on a wooden porch swing on a stage with lemonade, judging them with a relaxometer, which seems to function like a Geiger counter. It's off the charts. They are relaxed.
I had written down that I think that we would be great at this one, but as I'm saying that, we are like the least relaxed people possible.
Yeah.
Like anxiety.
Anxiety sucks.
It would be like the Chernobyl of the relaxometer. Like it'd be fried.
Why won't they relax?
We're trying. And thinking about relaxing harder is making me more stressed.
Just relax. I am. What do you mean?
This is why I suck at meditation.
Serenity now.
Exactly. That's the whole plot of that episode, essentially. Stable muckovers is next. So they've made over one of the horse stables.
Yes, Pedro leads a horse to a stable. Napoleon has made over with a fancy headboard, elevated hay box, curtains, flowers, carrot chandelier, horseshoe rug, and pile of apples. Pedro removes the blindfold from the horse, who is giddy with the result. Both teams are now on stage, tied for first place. One member from each team must recite the FFA creed to break the tie. I'm out. I fail. I can't do it. It's too long.
Let's see. It's your turn, Austin. Win the competition for us.
Nope. No. Terrible tiebreaker. Everyone loses.
Everyone loses.
If either of them can do it, I'm impressed. And they've wasted a lot of time. And then they've also wasted the entire audience's time. Because it's way too long.
Well, Filson at least says it in a very sexy way.
Yes, he does a dramatic reciting of the creed.
I believe in the future of agriculture with a faith born not of words, but of deeds.
At the end, he's shirtless with a fan to blow his hair and his teammate waving an American flag behind him.
I think all creeds should be said dramatically.
Probably.
I think we need a creed.
I believe in a warm bath.
I believe in the power of bubbles. Napoleon says it very normal. He's much blander than this dramatic recitation that Filson has done. But there's stuff afoot because the Egg Queen is behind him and tickles him, and Napoleon is disqualified for laughing.
Yes, the impartial female judge says he's blaspheming our creed.
Hate when I blaspheme.
The crowd boos. And as you said, the judge revokes Napoleon's FFA membership.
Yeah, it says he's no longer a future farmer or American.
Yep.
His patch is ripped from his jacket.
Yep.
It's harsh. It's hardcore.
He's dragged off by FFA bouncers, and the judges invite Filson back to the stage. But Pedro cuts him off and takes the stage with a guitar on his back. He says, "Wait. Even though Napoleon is a crappy friend sometimes, he truly loves the FFA. So while you were tearing the patch off his jacket, I wrote this song." Pedro starts playing guitar and sings a song about Napoleon's love of the FFA. He finishes and the crowd cheers. And the oldest judge says, "That's the most beautiful song about farming I've ever heard, and I'm including Old MacDonald and Jimmy Crack Corn."
Gotta remember Jimmy Crack Corn. He don't care.
I don't care.
It is a very moving song, though. I will give Pedro that. He's a good friend.
Yeah, it works. Pedro and Napoleon are declared the winners.
So Napoleon's an American and a future farmer again.
Filson is not about this. He says, y'all want to see my Speedo? And rips his pants off, showing a cow's print Speedo. The crowd is no longer impressed with him, and they boo. The female judge says, put your pants back on, son. Nobody cares. And then Filson says, you don't like this one? I've got another. And he rips that Speedo off and says, oops, no, I don't.
I'm so glad they made it very well known that he was older than 18 for some of the jokes they're making.
For sure.
We go home. The spider problem has been taken care of, thank God. It was horrifying. I was making clips for our last episode and rewatched that scene. It's like, Jesus Christ, they really went hard on these spiders.
Yeah, we know it's safe because there's a sign on the front door with a skeleton giving a thumbs up that says, safe for occupancy.
I love this extermination company. They're so over the top in the best way.
Same. I would hire them. Grandma, Napoleon, and Kip are about to enter the house when Napoleon notices Rico is talking to his van.
Yep, he's pretty lonely.
It was fun having company, wasn't it, Santana?
Grandma, Kip, and Napoleon approach the van. Kip asks Rico if they can stay one more night. Then the gang is in Rico's van and they are back at the house of the family they were observing before.
And they're so comically close to the house to look in the window. Parked in the van.
Yeah, they are. They're right in the yard. Like, those headlights are right through the window. And they're watching through the big picture window again. Rico says, okay, Napoleon, last week the father got arrested for beating up a peeping Tom, who in a hilarious twist turned out to be Kip. And Napoleon says the daughter's pretty hot. Grandma replies, not for long if she keeps eating meatloaf like that. Napoleon says rude, and that's the end of the episode.
And the end of the series. Series wrap on Napoleon Dynamite. What did you think about this episode, Austin? Tell me.
It wasn't my favorite, but I enjoyed it. I think it was the first one I watched. Actually, no, I know it was the first one I watched.
It was the second one I watched. So just average episode for you?
Yeah, average episode for me. I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was great. I like Sam Rockwell a lot. It was nice having him in this episode, but there were others I liked more, for sure.
I don't think it will come to any surprise of you, but this was my favorite episode. I love this episode. I thought it had some of the best lines overall, and it was a number of them, because some of the episodes, there were some really funny lines, but it was like 2 funny lines. I love the FFA references, obviously, but I also thought it had a great and cohesive A and B storyline where neither of them felt rushed, which is not easy to do in like a 21-minute long TV show. So I thought the structure was great, the writing was on point, which we've talked about some of the episodes. It felt like they were trying to make them longer stories, so I had to rush parts of them. I never felt that in this one, and it was wonderful how the 2 A and B stories interconnected. So yeah, this was my favorite episode. I love this episode.
Fair enough.
Everything about it. Yeah, this was a wonderful, wonderful episode of Napoleon Dynamite. Just all around funny, put together, well written, well edited. Good stuff.
Well, I didn't dislike this episode as much as I disliked your favorite episode of The Tick.
I don't remember which one I said, but I know we had like complete opposite.
Yeah, because it was your favorite was the season finale, and I was like, I fucking hate how they ended the show.
Oh yeah, it was a good one with Armin Shimmerman. That was a good one. We'll have to go back and watch The Tick. It's been a long time, which is insane to say.
A whole year, in fact.
So, I have some lines starred. I gotta go back through them, because I remember the ones from the first half that I don't know which one's gonna be my favorite. Do you know offhand what your favorite is?
I got it down to a couple of them, but I'm gonna go with my Santana sleeps up to 5 people. 6 if they're missing limbs.
It's a good one. Okay, so my highest starred ones where when Pedro said, "I've never been this high in the air before," Napoleon replies, "Welcome to my world, Pedro." The next one was Rico saying, "Wow, Kipper, you look like an Acapulco cliff diver." I judge a pig like I judge a woman by her personality and back fat. This is another solid one. I think I'm gonna have to go with, "Wow, Kipper, you look like an Acapulco cliff diver," because that like 5-second scene made me laugh so hard, so unexpectedly.
Good choice.
Wow, Kipper, you look like an Acapulco cliff diver.
And who in this episode do you think needs a bath the most?
Pedro.
I was thinking him through a lot of it, but I think I've changed my mind. Tell me your reasoning for Pedro. Great friend in this episode.
Yeah, great friend. I think he deserves a bath. He's earned it.
Covered in dirt.
He was covered in dirt. He rallied for Napoleon. Like, even though Napoleon was a shit friend.
Yeah.
Like, Napoleon was also covered in dirt, but fuck Napoleon. Pedro deserves the bath.
Yeah, Pedro was the hero of this episode.
Although, I will say, there is a bit of consideration I would give to giving the bath to the female judge, but it has to be a cold bath.
Yeah, she needs a cold bath, that's for sure. Wake up call of some sort. Therapy. Intervention. Jail. I was thinking Pedro through a lot of it, but I think I'm gonna go with Uncle Rico. For similar reasons. I think he really showed his best side in this episode. Like, it was a lot of stuff to be made as jokes, but I really found it, like, unironically wholesome. Like, him being pumped to show off his weird lifestyle and, like, his family just accepting it and going along with it and enjoying it too. Like, you could tell he's been lonely for this kind of connection in kind of a sad way, especially with, like, the last scene. So I think it was great. They really, in not an over-the-top, like, sappy way, but it was a good little storyline for Uncle Rico, because he's the butt of the joke in most episodes. So I think, yeah, definitely him. I found that really touching. Plus, we find out he does most of his personal hygiene with car washes, so he probably does need an actual bath as well.
Perhaps.
That'd be a little stinky. Van might need a bath too. Who knows with Grandma and Kip and their weird relationship inside of it. So we did it, Austin. We talked about Napoleon Dynamite.
For a whole season.
Maybe one day we can do like a special one-off episode talking about the movie.
It's not as good, guys.
It's pretty good, guys. I think it holds up.
Show's better.
It was very good. They're very different things.
They are. They really
very
are.
different things. Just completely. It's very strange the way, like, other than the act, and we'll get into this in the Robio, I have some thoughts. But it is weird how it's like the same writers and the same actors, but the vibes and the humor are just totally different. And I love both of them, but they're like polar opposites.
A little bit. It's just as weird, but in different ways. And like, I like these ways better, but it is more like traditional cartoon absurdist versus whatever the fuck.
Whatever Napoleon
is.
Dynamite was.
Yeah.
Whatever is an odd one.
Fucking world under a microscope, surreal. I don't know.
Surreal is a good word for it. But we can talk about this more in the Robio. This is Robio Talk, talking about the series as a whole. What else do we normally talk about at the end, Austin? I know we talk about like suggestions for people to get by without hearing our sweet, sultry voices in their ears for a few weeks, which I know is hard to do. We are quite enticing with our mouth words, I think, with my brain.
I do mouth words real good, and they like it.
That's podcasting, baby. Now that's podcasting.
Now that's what I call podcasting. What a weird compilation CD that would be.
Just Anakin speeding by with the USB microphone plugged in, talking about some bullshit something or other, promoting a sports drink and some mattresses. I can't wait until we get our mattress sponsorship. That's like a rite of passage for all podcasts.
If you find a mattress at a better price, I'll kick a puppy and punch a kitten just for you.
One day.
I used to listen to all episodes of My Brother and Me, but I've kind of gotten way behind on that. But I think it's hilarious that one of their first ever sponsors, and they never could figure out why, was an adult web store that specialized in like leather straps and sex furniture. And they're like, why us? We don't talk about this, but they were like, we want to sponsor. It's great. But it was extremerestraints.com was their first sponsor.
That's so weird.
And then the website would send them what their listeners were purchasing with their coupon codes, all the freaky shit that their listeners were into.
Jesus.
I mean, didn't send names or anything, so didn't call anybody out, but they're like, we got some wild listeners, y'all.
Like, you're the one selling this stuff.
Why us? Maybe we'll get a Kraft cheese sponsorship after this episode. What do you think?
Hopefully.
Here's some other uses, whole new markets for the cheese industry. We are really revolutionizing the dairy industry. They never even thought about putting it in the other hole.
They weren't ready. No one's ready for Bath cheese.
They should be. It's coming for you whether you want it or not.
Just you wait, folks. Coming up is Better Boof and Bath cheese.
Out now, Bath cheese, and it's coming for you. So, Austin, what have you been up to? Do you have any ideas for the suggestions we talked about for when our other daddies are missing our sweet, sultry sounds?
My suggestion is that it's cold out there, at least if you're in a place like where we are.
Where it's cold.
Yep, it's very cold. I looked down at my phone yesterday and it said, today will be colder than yesterday. And literally out loud, I went, I don't want that. I don't want that.
Yeah, it's about to get real cold for a couple of days. I looked it up today. It was warmer in Reykjavik, Iceland today than it was in Dayton, Ohio.
See?
Felt wrong. It's like 45 there right now.
See, and that's how I felt when I went to Chicago the last time. It was freezing when we left here. And it did get nice in Cleveland over the weekend that week as well. But I got to Chicago and I was like, this is beautiful. Why was it so freezing when I left? Regardless, it's cold out there. So one of the things I like to do in the winter, which I haven't done a whole lot of yet, I've done a little bit, is puzzles and Legos.
Solid.
So get into that, puzzles, Legos, put on a movie, put on some music. I've been listening to records lately. I just went through my whole collection because I got some like protector sleeves and learned that I have over 400 records in my collection.
Wow.
But yeah, I've been putting on records and like doing stuff like that. I've been doing some cleaning and stuff around the house too. I mean, like it's good to mix that stuff in, try to stay productive. But aside from that, I beat Watch Dogs Legion.
Nice.
So, great game.
This is a good game.
I really liked the way it ended. Not going to put any spoilers out there, but like, I really liked the way it ended. I suggest that.
So it was a good, because I got about halfway through it and I just got real bored with the story. Does it pick up?
Yes and no. Like, that's one of the things that I think...
It was a fun game. Like, the moment to moment was really fun. But, like, after so many hours of playing, I was like, this was fun, but, like, I'm not really enticed to keep going. But I had a feeling it was building up to something cool.
Yeah, there are times that those games can get a bit repetitive. And I feel like with each game, they've done a bit better about making it feel less like that. Because I stopped playing Watch Dogs 2 for the same reason. I was like... okay, like, yeah, it's a new mission, but it feels the same as the mission I just did 2 missions ago. Like, you know, they're giving you content, they're giving you hours to play, but if they're giving you hours to play and it's the same thing over and over again, like, is that really good?
Yeah, right.
There's a little bit of that. I can understand getting burnt out on it. I think this one's been the best so far as that goes. I didn't have as much trouble overcoming that feeling and like keeping moving and like staying enticed with what the story was giving me. But I really did appreciate how it ended. Like you wrap up the story and then there's like another little thing afterwards and like that after story is like really worth it.
I might have to go back to it.
But after I finished that, I immediately started the Spider-Man Miles Morales game.
I own that, but I haven't played it yet. I got a lot of games I want to get through first. You like the Spider-Man games, though.
I do. I love the Spider-Man games, and that's recommendation right here for anyone, like puzzles, Legos, movies, records. The Watch Dogs games, specifically 2, but more specifically Watch Dogs Legion, the third one. but the Spider-Man games. If you have a PlayStation and you have not played the Spider-Man games, play the Spider-Man games. First one's great, second one's great. I just started Miles Morales. It feels like those games. They are fantastic.
Nice. I love cozy hobbies you can do watching a movie or listening to music. That's crochet for me a lot of times. It's been a while since I made anything, but that's another good one. That's why I picked it up. I wanted a hobby I could do while watching a movie.
Right. Oh, and if you haven't seen it and you're into that sort of thing, Nosferatu is very good.
I want to see that so bad, but it's so hard getting out to see a movie when you have a 2-year-old. But that looks great.
It's very good.
I'm mixed on his movies, that director. I love The Lighthouse. It's one of my favorite movies to come out in like the last 5 or 10 years or whatever. But his other movies, like The Northman, was not a fan. The Witch was not a fan.
Really? You didn't like those?
Northman was okay. I didn't like The Witch. It was trying to be a subtle horror, but it was like too subtle. Like, it was like, okay. Like, that's just how I felt the whole time. And The Northman was good, but again, it was like, it was kind of, I felt like the John Wick of like a Norse movie where it's just a simple story. He's just going back to revenge his parents. And he does, and that's the movie. And I don't know, I just left it feeling kind of bored. And I usually like those kinds of movies, but that's how I felt with both of those. But I really liked The Lighthouse, and this seemed to have chances to be more closely aligned with those kind of vibes.
I liked it. You get more Willem Dafoe action.
Yes.
He's got a really big pipe.
He's got a really big other thing like we discussed.
And The Lighthouse.
So I don't really have a whole bunch. I've been so busy. One, we just haven't had much free time because, we got those storms, and before that, our babysitter's daughter was like super sick. So we were watching Ollie over the whole entire like holiday break, which is fine. But we had planned on having like a few days to get a bunch done around the house and just like relax over the holidays, and we didn't get it. And then also with the new baby coming along, I moved out of my home office and moved that down into our basement because I work from home full time. So that's been taking up a lot of my time. But it's kind of cool resetting things up in more efficient ways and being able to like rethink through my setup for like all my audio and video shit. So that's been good. But we're also, like you said, it was like in the doldrums of winter. It's time to be cozy, maybe not watch or think about anything too heavy, and just comfort food for the mind and soul. And my go-to for that recently and for many years has been Call Me Kevin on YouTube. I've been just going back and rewatching some of my favorite videos of his. He's so funny and wholesome and great. His videos are wonderful. They're my favorite YouTube channel. And I know I've put a few drops from his videos in this show before, so I'm sure people who know who he is recognized it, even in the Sack Soup seasoning drop. He's the one saying, "I hate soup, it's the wettest of foods." But that's my go-to. I've been watching just a ton of that as I'm, moving shit around, organizing my new office space. Good Mythical Morning's another great one, but if you're on YouTube, you know who they are. If you don't know, it's just like a daily show of like two best friends, kind of like us. They're from somewhere in the South, but now they live out in California and make a daily show on YouTube that's just wholesome and fun as well. It's another good white noise show. Oh, for Christmas, I got the new remaster of Resident Evil 4 that came out, a year and a half ago, and it's so good. I never actually beat Resident Evil 4 on the PS2 because we were probably, junior high, early high school when that came out. Probably junior high. And it freaked me the fuck out when I was that age. Like, I loved it. It was the first, true scary game I got. So I never beat it as a kid, but now going back and playing it, it's so good. And it's so corny in the best way. It's so cheesy and hilarious. Like, my wife has been sitting watching it. We just laugh out loud with the hilariously corny lines that everybody has.
I've been expecting you, my brethren.
No thanks, bro.
And I also got Lies of P, a weird video game that's like Dark Souls, but you're Pinocchio, but not in a funny way, like a super dark, grim, serious way. It's really strange, but it's really fun. I played a bit of that, but I'm going to go back to it after I beat Resident Evil 4, because I know Resident Evil 4 is not like a super long game, but I've been playing those. Those have been fun. Oh, and we played the Hot Wheels Unleashed 2.
Yeah.
With a friend a couple weeks ago, and that was surprisingly fun because I liked the first one. Those are good games if you have 5 minutes, just get a couple races in, and they're crazy solid racing games. But we did the multiplayer, and it was a lot of fun. I expected it to be fun, but we did that for most of that evening.
Yeah, I've played it a few times since. I'm level 13
Me too.
now.
Me too. I think I'm 10. So that's another good one. If you're just looking for a light game to play with friends that you don't have to take seriously. And you can make a private party. You don't have to play with other people online. So if you want to play with one other person or a few others, you can do that, which is not a given on some online games.
Right.
All right, well, I guess, everybody, the next time you see us and hear from us, we won't be in baths. We will be in robes.
We'll be dry.
We'll be dry. I don't know. I may not be. You don't know. You don't know what's going to happen.
You're going to be covered in caulk.
And maybe grout. Maybe hot glue in the morning. 1011, hot glue in the morning.
Dun, dun, dun.
Was that your theme song? I wasn't sure how it went.
Yep.
Dun, dun, dun. Nice. What comes after that?
Here's hot glue in the morning.
Oh. A little accent on there. I don't know from where.
Who does?
Maybe the toe gremlins under your bath. They probably do. That's probably how they speak.
Yeah, that's where I picked it up.
I never thought our show would have lore. We're slowly developing some wild lore.
You did this.
Yeah, it was mostly me, I think. You know me. You agreed to this.
I
Willing
instigated.
participant.
No regrets.
No regrets for what comes out of the inner machinations of my mind. It is a good word, machinations.
The inner Macarena.
The inner Macarena speaks to us all. We are all one and brethren to the inner Macarena. Except for the toe gremlins, they're not allowed. They've been damned.
You know what? If someone actually gave me a morning show on a radio station, the first thing I would do every morning is play the Macarena.
Hey, I'd be so pissed if I was half awake and that was the first thing I heard. I hate that.
Here's hot glue in the morning. Toe Gremlin Radio. You set that as your alarm clock.
It's almost as bad as waking up to George Lopez in the middle of the night, like back in the day. I could literally see him floating through the air, like jumping on like the opening credits because it happens so many times. Why was it always that show that was on?
Because Nick at Night.
But why that one?
I don't know.
It was alright. Alright, well, I guess we'll see y'all soon. All dried off. Put on your favorite robe. Smoke a pipe. Pour a drink. And we will join you next time in our second rodeo. It won't be our first. But until then, go take a bath. You deserve it.
Bye.
Bye.
He's proud to say he's in the FFA, and I'm proud to say he's my best hombre, and I know I wouldn't trade him for food or hay.